Greetings from the stone wall lined mountains of New Hampshire. I am your host, James Denowitz, for Mythic Writer. On Mythic Writer, I will share with you all the things I've learned over a lifetime of writing and studying writing. I have been an English teacher for several years and am now focusing just on this, just for you. Mythic Writer will be building courses, a very big membership course area that will tell you everything you need to know about plotting. We'll eventually have classes about building your platform. But a lot of that stuff we'll talk about right here on this channel with you. Mythic Writer will also be a podcast, so you can check us out pretty soon on iTunes. Look for that coming in sometime around February 2020. So, what is a Mythic Writer? Well, Mythic Writer is a lot of things. You probably already are a Mythic Writer and don't even know it. Mythic Writer is someone who toils away the hours alone at a desk, or table, or anywhere they can find, writing stories, creating fantasy worlds, creating something out of nothing. When you think about that, every show you watch, every book you read, every song you listen to, it's a work of genius. It's a work of creation. The day before that, it wasn't there, and now it is. There it is, just there all of a sudden. How cool is that? So if you're a creator like me and you've been doing this as long as you can remember, I hope to not only offer you advice on improving your craft and finding software you need and things you need to, promote yourself as a writer and start to make money and earn income. I also, we'll talk about, really publishing. If you're wanting to publish your own book, don't just be a self-publisher, become a publisher. That's a big topic there. We'll talk about that. Well, I'll try to give you some inspiration and encouragement. The writing life is a lonely life, especially if you're not in a group of other writers. I've had periods in life where I was around other writers. Poetry group back in the 90s called the Kerouac Society was fantastic. Right now, I'm not interacting with a lot of writers. I hope to be soon. And the other thing about this channel is it's going to document my journey. I've decided to finally just, put my head down and try to make this dream come true of really making it as a writer. I've been teaching people to write. I've been writing. And a lot of things, life gets in the way, personal fear and anxiety about your work gets in the way. So, yeah, I'm going to share these things with you. I'm just going to be open and honest with you. You'll find out that, I tell you how it is. I'm not going to fill you with a bunch of fluffery. And, I hope that we'll have a good interaction here, too. I hope that you'll leave comments. If you've got questions, maybe share questions. I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. And we'll even try to answer some questions on maybe like the next video or whatever. So, hang out with me. Bring your writer friends. Please share this link with your other writer friends. I'm trying to build an audience as fast as I can. So that's another thing I want to document and see how fast can you build an audience if you really go at it. So I'll need your help for that, obviously. You are my audience. And anyone you know that's into writing and creative writing, bring them in. This is going to be for people, maybe you're 20 years old starting out, and you're thinking, wow, I want to be a writer. I'll tell you, most people that start out at that age, myself included, got a lot of misconceptions and a lot to learn about writing, making it and writing, how to go about it. I hope to give you some tips, shorten your learning curve, shorten that time it takes, and hopefully, as time goes by, I'll start to see comments about people that, hey, I published something, I got a book contract, or I became a publisher and publishing my own books and other people's books. Uh, this would be great. Or, I'm already published. I was only selling 1,000 books a year or something, but now I'm selling 5,000 because of some of your tips on, social media marketing and promoting yourself as a writer. These would be great. This is what my dream is, and my vision of the future of Mythic Writer is that I'll start seeing comments like this and things like this. As I get the online membership class area up, that's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a place to really go in and do exercises and things that you can't really do here on the channel. That will be hopefully a source of income for me as I try to build an income strictly around my creativity and my art. I'll be doing several other projects, taking on a lot. I'll share a few of the ups and downs of that. Some of these things you may want to do, podcasting, YouTube channel, actually writing books. I'm wanting to take some things to the stage, stage shows. Got a lot of things in the works. And some of these things you may be wanting to try. I'll share with you the intimate details, what went wrong, what went right, how to correct and fix. The big thing I want people to know on this channel is that your self-esteem is so important. Build your self-esteem, not just around your writing, but in your personal life. Failure is the path to success, and failure is a sign that you tried. And people that try are winners. So don't let your failures slow you down, hold you back, make you feel bad about yourself. I've had plenty in my life. Over time, I'll try to share all of them with you. But please, number one lesson, build your self-esteem. You're not crazy because you're wanting to be a writer and you're making up wild stories in your mind. It's not something that every single person does. Probably most people were born with that ability, but life itself, the world, kind of beats creativity out of us, let's be honest. In school, a lot of times, most schools, not necessarily rewarded for being creative, or in my case, always rewarded for being the class clown or coming up with a great joke or come back to what the teacher just said. Quite often, I spent a lot of time in the hall, and I'll tell you, there were a lot of nice pictures hanging up in the hall, Huntington School, where I went to school. So we got to bring that back. If you've still got that and you're writing, you're creating, congratulations. Good job. You actually resisted almost the entire world and society and what its whole goal is to kind of get that out of you. You've held on to that. Some people call it holding on to your inner child, but having that ability, tapping into that ability is precious. And there's some tricks to doing it. I know some of you may be in your 50s, maybe in your 60s. I had some friends when I was teaching at the high school that decided to get into publishing, started to publish their own books. They made a lot of mistakes. And I realized from that there are a lot of people, you start hitting your 50s. If you're lucky, you've got some kind of security in your life, and you've maybe got some money saved up. Maybe you're making more money you've ever made in your life if you're lucky, and you start to think, wow, there's things I really wanted to do. Maybe I didn't really want this career that I got. And a lot of people do that. I used to think it was just me that was out there dreaming about doing something stimulating of the mind instead of just some corporate hack or whatever. But I'm finding out that it's a lot of people. A lot of people are sitting there. They're dreaming about doing almost anything but what they are doing. A lot of reasons for that. We're not going to get into that right now. But if that's you and you're at that point, you're saying, I want to do something before I'm too old, before I'm dead, before my opportunity runs out. I don't want to die if my music's still in me, as they say. Hopefully, I can help you with that. I know about that. I'm living it. I've been through it. Some of my friends have been through it. And I just want to be encouragement to you. So from the whole spectrum, starting out early in life, you're up there in your middle ages now, and you're wanting to do something before it's too late. I encourage you. Let's do it. Let's get busy. Let's get doing this together. You can encourage me. I can encourage you. I will share some stuff with you. I have personally studied writing probably way too much in my life. I mean, to say that I've read hundreds of books on writing is actually not an overstatement. Uh, I do find a lot of times in young writers, I'll see people saying, I want to write a novel. And I'll say, how many books on writing have you read? And most of the time they'll say none. If that's you, right after this video, go to writersdigest.com, go somewhere, get some books on writing, okay? Get some books on writing, start reading writing books. You should always be in the process of reading a book on writing. There's too much to learn. And even though you see one book about plot, and you're like, well, there's 10 other books about plot, every one of those books, I will tell you, will have something different in them and something valuable for you. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, this writing course that I'm putting together, this intense training, I think it's top notch. I think it's going to have everything and then some that I've ever learned in my mind in it to really show you how to plot out a novel, how to really make stories great. But I'll tell you, there's still going to be other people you could read, and they're going to have different ways of saying things that might get through you. They're going to have some things that I don't have in there. I'm trying to include everything I can think of. But sooner or later, somebody misses something. Just hearing certain writers talk about how they approach their craft is very valuable. Getting all your information, whether it's the news or writing in one place, is never a good idea. Look around. Over time, hopefully I'll be making some relationships with other YouTubers. There's a few I see doing some good videos on writing. Maybe we'll make some collaborations and work together a little bit. I would like to, on my podcast, bring other writers in to interview them. And I'm not opposed to having other writers interview me. So, I'm definitely looking to get on some podcasts in time, get to know other people, make some partnerships. And I urge you to start doing that yourself right now. Find some other writers, find some groups to get into if you're not already into them. Sure, there's lots of places on Facebook. In my writing classes that I'll be setting up, there will be like a discussion board in there. So as more and more students come in and more members join that's going to be really cool, because we'll have a closed discussion group, and I'll go in and answer questions and everything. I'll also be doing some live events like on YouTube and Facebook. I've got a setup where I can go into my class and even offer my students like live interactions where you could actually ask questions to me live and in person. I'm not purporting to be a wizard and to know everything there is to know about writing, but I do want you to know that I have a unique way of looking at writing and approaching writing, and I think I can help you with it. Being a mythical writer is really being also about being the person that just sticks with it and never gives up. And yes, being a mythic writer, you're using the power of myth, things that Joseph Campbell talked about years ago. You're using the power of myths, certain archetypes of characters. You're using certain aspects of story. And we'll look at that. We'll look at interesting things like one thing I used to tell my class was that The Wizard of Oz and Star Wars are the same movie. And they would always say, no, you're crazy. They're vastly different. There's no way they're the same. I would go through it plot point by plot point. And then at the end, they're like, oh my God, that is the same story in almost every little detail. So we will look at those things. Mythic writing is not just for fantasy writers. It's for any genre. I've really been paying attention to comedies lately, and it's amazing how many comedy movies really just like, I don't know if they consciously did it or not, but they should. If you write comedy, you should do it more. You should learn what we're going to learn here on Mythic Writer, using myth and the archetypes in your comedy, because it works beautifully. Of course, fantasy works great. Science fiction and horror are especially great. Um, but drama, I've seen it in dramas. If uh, if I were to look at the Godfather movie or something, I could take that down into your mythic writing structure. And we may do that on here someday, because that is one of my all-time favorite movies. So we'll do it. I have a little, as you'll see on some of my other YouTube channels, I do write horror fiction myself, and I also write comedy. So that's a little weird, I know, but when you look at the two, they're like cousins, because they're both sort of about people in extreme situations and how they handle those situations. And they both usually involve somebody going through a major transformation. And if you're writing horror or comedy, the best horror and comedy out there always has the character really going through a major transformation. So tune in the Mythic Writer with me. Come back here. I'm going to be posting videos every week. We'll be getting a podcast up pretty soon. I'm even right now putting together a website. Folks, I'm letting you see this from the very start all the way through, hopefully to great success. Great success I measure by helping a lot of people, paying the bills with my income. That's the bar, success. Yes, there are some big out there goals. I would be lying if I told you that I would not like to see some of my stuff on Netflix or Amazon or cable TV. I'm very fascinated with series stuff. I would actually be more excited to have some of my work on a TV series, probably more so than a film. And we'll talk about that on here too. The big, crazy world of filmmaking and what it involves. It sounds great to be up on the big screen, but it's not all it's cracked up to be, and it's a really hard journey there. And if you really look at it, you'll see that if you have the chops to do a series and you really want to shoot for something big, that's what I'm recommending. There's obviously, you can see how much content's being created right now and how many channels there are. Seems like every single cable network now is producing original work. In a way, guys, I think you should be excited. There's never been more opportunity for writers than there is right now. There really hasn't. If anyone says different, I would argue with them, because writers are making podcasts. Writers are having more TV series than ever before. The movie business is still cranking along, even though everyone's got big screen TVs and phones that you can get movies on and everything. They're still cranking out billion-dollar films. So the movie industry is cranking along, and the internet's becoming its own thing. Some people are making original content on the internet and finding ways to monetize it. I mean, you can go out and make an independent film for $10,000, put it up on your website, put it behind a paywall, charge people $5 to see it. If you get 2,000 people to see it, you've just broke even. So, and with the internet, I always tell people, if you think, wow, man, my idea is just a 1 in a million idea, it's just out there. I say, great, because with the numbers of the internet, if your idea is a 1 in a million idea, it means you'll have 7,000 fans. Do the math, folks. It's there. 7,000 fans. You got 7,000 fans. You got enough money to make a living as a writer, an independent writer, and just enjoy your life. So hang in there. We're going to get through all this stuff. We're going to start looking at all this stuff. A lot of opportunity out there. You do have to be good. There's a lot of competition, as always. You've got to be good. You've got to learn the things that you do and the things that you don't do. Most of all, you've just got to work every day. Get in there and write. Create something every day. Always be looking to improve, and don't think that your work is perfect, because believe me, Stephen King would probably tell you himself, there's no such thing as writing a great, perfect book. You edit to get a great, perfect book. Even someone like Stephen King goes through editing, changing their work once they're finished. So editing is the key ingredient to really making your book. Think of it as like a cake. You you put all the ingredients in the cake, you mix it all up, and you put it in the oven, and it comes out. And it's a cake, but it doesn't have the frosting on it. It doesn't have the icing on it. And it might need to be layered and put together to look a little bit like you want it to look like. And then you got to get that icing on there. And then you got to get that little thing out and decorate it and put all the cool things you're going to put on it. That's what makes a cake. Too many people get caught up thinking it's just mixing the batter up and maybe shoving it in the oven. You got to follow through the whole process, okay? That's what we're going to talk about here. So, welcome to Mythic Writer. I'm glad you're here. Leave a comment below. Tell us your name, what you're doing here, why you're here. Tell us what genre maybe you're into. Just let us all start to get to know each other. Think of me as your guide. Think of everyone else commenting on these videos and listening to the podcast and coming to my website, which will be mythicwriter.com. Think of them as your friends, your community of writers that we're going to build. Because we're going to build something special here, okay? Have a sense of humor. Try to have some fun with this. It's not rocket science, but it is a craft, and it is an art. And together, we're going to master both. So thank you for tuning in to Mythic Writer, and watch for more videos soon. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and please send it to some other friends. Post it on Facebook if you would. Help me get the word out about this channel so that we can grow together, and I can put even more content and do even more wild things, because I've got some super things planned. But I need your help. So thank you very much.